Hello and welcome to a new series of historical videos to go along with the articles I'm writing for the good folks at planencyclopedia.com, which aims to be the world's largest virtual aircraft museum. Go check them out and see if you can support them in any way. We'd really appreciate it. Link to the site in the description below and on your screen right now. Now, what got me interested in this aircraft in the first place is the video game Dogfight 1942. It's honestly not a very good game for having been released in 2012, but it's the very first aircraft combat game I ever played, and is notable in my mind for the inclusion of one aircraft in particular, the PZL P.50 Jastrzab. Much like its real-life counterpart, it is pretty sluggish, but surprisingly turns fairly well. The armament is also pretty weak, and it will take you a while to kill most things once you finally catch up to them. As far as the real P.50 Jastrzab goes, I actually had a lot of problems getting information and photographs for this aircraft. For one, it was a prototype aircraft, and during World War II, almost all records of it were destroyed. Secondly, almost all existing source material is in Polish, and while I do have a friend who would be able to translate it for me, the books just weren't available anywhere. I was only able to find one book on the aircraft in English, and that is Jerzy Synk's Polish Aircraft 1893 to 1939. This book contains two of only 5 or 6 known photographs of the P-50, so at least I got that. However, the book is from 1971, and I'm pretty sure that based on an article Synk wrote on a Polish website in 2005, some of the information in the book may have since become outdated. Nevertheless, we will use the book to go over the history and fate of the PZL P.50 Jastrzab. In 1937, a design was submitted by the Polish aircraft company PZL, designed by head of the fighter department Wisław Jakimiuk, for a modern interceptor-type aircraft. The aircraft was to be armed with 4 7.7mm machine guns and powered by an 840 horsepower Bristol Mercury 8, which is to propel the aircraft along at 310 miles per hour. The aircraft was given the designation PZL P.50 Jastrzab, which means hawk in Polish. However, problems with the parts delivery, especially of the landing gear, meant that the aircraft did not fly until February 1939. Around this time, Italian Foreign Minister Galeazzo Ciano was shown the P.50/1 prototype during a visit to Warsaw, and this is where we get the only photos of the P.50/1 from. These initial flights revealed a number of faults. In low-speed turns, the P.50/1 prototype had a tendency to suddenly go into a spin, and at high speeds, the aircraft had a tendency to wobble. Most concerning was the fact that the P.50/1 was only able to reach a top speed of 248 miles per hour. Despite its problems, the Polish Air Force ordered 300 production versions called the P.50A Jastrzab A. Developed alongside the P.50/1 was a second prototype only known as the P.50/2. This aircraft was much improved over the P.50/1, featuring a 1400 horsepower PZL Varan engine, 2 20mm cannons in the wings, in addition to the 4 7.7mm machine guns, and a 661-pound bomb. Top speed was intended to be 348 miles per hour. However, problems with the development of the Varan engine meant that this aircraft was destined never to fly. The differences between this aircraft and the P.50/1 meant that it was given a new designation shortly before World War II began. My major source does not specify what this new designation was, but other sources say it was called the P.53 Jastrzab II. In March 1939, there was a power shift in the Polish Air Force High Command, and the new commander of the Polish Air Force, who did not like radial-engine aircraft and was disappointed by the bad performance of the P.50/1 prototype, canceled the production of the aircraft, although development was allowed to continue. Jakimiuk tried to appeal to this new commander by developing a version of the P.50A designed to take a 1200 horsepower Hispano-Suiza 12Y or a 1600 horsepower Hispano-Suiza 12Z inline V engine. However, this design, called the P.56 Konia, or Kite in Polish, lost out to a new aircraft designed by another PZL designer, Jerzy Dabrowski, and called the P.62. Development on the P.56 was stopped in summer 1939. In May of 1939, changes were made to the P.50/1, which finally fixed its problems, and production of the P.50A was allowed to resume, taking into light these changes. However, only 30 airframes had been built, all incomplete by the time of the German invasion in September. 5 airframes were moved out of the factory on September 3rd, but ended up being captured by the Germans. Some photos were taken, but the airframes were ultimately scrapped in 1940. Test pilot Jerzy Wadowski tried to fly the P-50/1 prototype out of the main PZL factory on September 5th, but was accidentally shot down by Polish AA. However, other sources state that the aircraft was not shot down and instead either ran out of fuel or the engine died, and the plane crashed. Wadowski escaped unharmed in any case. Thus, the P-50 was destined never to see combat. The short career of the P-50 Jastrzab was turbulent and plagued with issues, mostly stemming from the engine, but Sink suggests that had the Polish Air Force not canceled production and struggled so much to find suitable engines for the aircraft, which had been expressly designed to be able to take more powerful engines than the ones it was actually equipped with, the P-50 could have been ready by September 1939 and served admirably during the invasion of Poland, and possibly beyond if it had managed to escape to England like Dogfight 1942 seems to suggest.